Hello everybody, and today we are going to learn how to FOIL. FOIL stands for first, outside, inside, last. Now what does this look like? So we're always going to start with the first term on the left side. So first term, we're going to multiply into the first term of the second. So x times x gives me x squared. Then I'm going to multiply that same term into the far term of 2 here. So x times 2 gives me a 2x. Now moving into the next level of this, we are going to multiply our second term and we're going to go down. So 1 times x gives me a single x. And then for the last portion, the same thing. We're going to start with 1 and we're going to go to the furthest term again, which is 2. 1 times 2 gives me a positive 2. All right, from here, we can go ahead and simplify what we know, which is like terms. So, how many times do I have an x squared in this problem? We only have one right here. So we can just go ahead and copy that straight on down. Now I have 2 terms with a single x right here and right here. So let's go ahead and add those together. We have a 2x plus a 1x. That will give me a 3x. And then I have a constant, which is just a number by itself. And there's only one of those, so we can just go ahead and copy him. And this would be our answer to this FOIL. Let's go ahead and take a look at another example. We want to FOIL 2x plus 4 multiplied by x minus 1. All right, let's not forget that our first term is going to go up and over to the first term of the second. So we have a 2x times an x. So 2x times x will give me a 2x squared. We went straight on over. Now, if you remember what we do next, we're going to stay with that 2x. And now we got to go all the way over to the last term. So we have a 2x times a negative 1. This will give us a negative 2x. All right, let's move on. So now we're going to go to our 4 and we're going to go under. 4 times x will give me a 4x. And then we have one more term and that's going to be our 4 again. We're going to move 4 into that last term. Under again, 4 times a negative 1 will give me a negative 4. Okay, so the next step is going through this problem and deciphering what is the same. So do I have multiple x squares? I do not. I only have one. So I can just drop him straight down. He will be a part of our final answer. Now I have 2 x's. So because they're to the first power, both of them, we need to simplify. So I have a negative 2 plus a positive 4. This will give us a positive 2x. Now I only have one constant again, so we can just drop him right on down. So minus 4. So that is the final answer to this problem. Let's go ahead and take a look at another problem. We're going to get a hard one here. So let's mix up and do a 2x cubed minus x. We're going to multiply that into 2x plus 2. Okay, so let's just take this one term at a time. We're going to multiply our first term right on into that second. So all the way over. A 2 times a 2 is 4. And then we have the x cubed times an x. We're going to add that because this is technically x to the first power. So we're going to add those exponents. So we have an x, and then it's a 3 plus 1, so x cubed times x gives me x to the 4. Okay, so now we're going to shoot on over, stay with that first term, but now we're going to go way over to the second one. So I have a 2 times a 2, which will give me a positive 4, and then this does not have an x on it, so it's just going to be the x cubed attached to the first term. Okay, let's move on to our next term here. We have a negative x. Now this sign gets applied to this term. So we're going to go right on under. We have a negative times a positive, so we know we're going to have a negative term here. X times 2x. So we know it's 2 times 1 will give us a 2 because there is a 1 right here. X times an x, remember this is still x to the first power. We're going to go ahead and add those powers. So I have an x squared. Okay, moving to the very last term here. We're staying with our x on the left side. Go all the way over. So we have that negative 1x still times a positive 2. So we know we have a negative number. And then we have x times 2 will give me 2x. All right, so this is how we FOIL it. And do we have any like terms to simplify here? Well, I have an x to the 4th power. He only appears once. I have an x cubed, which only appears once. And I have an x squared that only appears once. And then an x to the 1st power. So this is fully simplified as far as x's go. We can pull out like terms, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to jump to a challenge problem here and see if we can decipher going backwards. So FOIL backwards real fast. If I'm given an x squared plus a 2x plus 1, we need to create what was this. So what do we have here? So we're going to go first term multiplied by the second term. So I need 2 terms that multiply x that will give me x squared. Well, an x multiplied by another x will give me the x squared. So I'm going to plop that in to the first placeholders. Now we're going to look at our terms here. What am I doing with this? So I have a positive and a positive here. So those are just actually going to copy over as a positive and a positive. Okay, so now let's move on to the next term here. We have 1. I need 2 numbers that multiply together that give me 1. Well, 1 times 1 will get me 1. So we're going to put 1 right here. Now, if we check this, the way we're going to find out if this middle term is correct, which right now we don't know, we're going to multiply these 2, and then we're going to add the multiplication of these 2. So what this essentially looks like is, first step, x times a 1 will give me an x. Now we're going to go the big one. X times another 1 will give me another x. Go ahead and add up those terms. So this term multiplied on over to that term. X plus x gives me a 2x. Perfect. That is exactly what we're looking for. So this is how we would FOIL backwards. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And until next time.